Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a little bit more pool maintenance. So my Pentair Globrites that I've got on my pool, 3 of them have all failed. So today I'm going to show you how to replace these Globrites and fix one that's almost about to die, but it hasn't died yet. So I'm trying to hold off on placing that one right now, but we'll show you how to fix that today, even with the pool full. As you can see, the only light I have left, and that thing is starting to act up. You can see that thing kind of strobing and flashing. That's usually the first sign of these things going out. My spa light over there, that thing is basically dead. And then this one over here is just full of water and full of crap. You can see that it's just straight black from viewing it from here. That's because that's just dirty water inside the actual light. So that thing's been failed for about a year now. The spa light started failing maybe over the summer, which was about 6 or 8 months ago. And then this one is slowly starting to fail. As you can see now, it's at full brightness again. So that one might still be salvageable. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out when I'm actually doing one of these replacements and seal it up with some silicone, see if I could dry it out a little bit and see if I could get a couple more months or maybe a year out of that one before it fails and I have to replace that with another $400 light. So as mentioned earlier, instead of replacing the Globrite, which is going to fail on us in 2 or 3 years anyways, I'm going to be replacing it with a MicroBrite. This is the newer version from Pentair that's supposed to be a little bit more robust than that Globrite that keeps on failing, that I've already got 2 out of 3 fail. So I bought the 100-foot roll right here, and it comes with this thing. It comes with the screw-in adapter on there already, and then the O-rings, and then the little release tool or the turn tool, and basically 100-foot. In addition to that, since I'm converting from a Globrite to a MicroBrite, I had to buy this adapter from Pentair also. So this adapter also comes with the O-ring in there and all the grease and everything. So this thing actually seals up the thing, and then we snap this guy into here and it seals with that little O-ring inside there, right? So that should fit right into there. So we'll go ahead and take this outside, pull the wire through. Before I do all of that though, I'm gonna go ahead and seal this thing up, a little bit extra silicone back here, and then around the lip here, I'm gonna put some silicone just to make sure that we seal this thing and we don't have any issues later. So on here, since we're not using the NTP adapter or this pipe adapter, we need to take this thing off, string it through the whole 100-foot, and then string this thing all the way through also. So we have to go through all that trouble just to get this thing in there. All right, so what I did was I ended up taping up the edges of this to put the silicone on. So this right here looks like a weak point. It's a little joint between this molded area and that molded area. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some silicone all around there. I put the tape there so I don't make a big mess. Once I put it on there, let it dry for like 10-15 minutes, and I'm gonna peel the tape so it gets a nice tape line. I did the same up here so I don't get too much of the silicone around the rim. I couldn't really tape up the front lens, but I'm just gonna try to get the silicone just right around the crack there on the exposed area that's going to be in the water most of the time. And then on the back end, I'm going to fill up this cord right here into the seal inside there. I'm going to just put some extra silicone inside of here just to seal that up in case water intrusion happens there. So that should help seal a little bit, but I have a feeling most of the weak point is going to be this front cover lens, which the most you can do is that little rim around here. So what I'm going to be using is GE Advanced Silicone. This is the same silicone I've used to seal up my 3-piece wheels on my car for years. And the ones on my wheels been on there for probably 10 years at some point before I took them apart to redo them, and they're perfectly fine. So this is a guaranteed, sealant that's going to work very well. Prep the cotton gun to get it through. I've got a little bit of silicone coming out, so I'm going to go ahead and just fill this back part first. And then from there, I'll work on the little surrounding areas. Next thing I'm going to do the circumference right here in the center. So since I have that tape mark, I'm just going to go ahead and just follow that. Just put a bead of it around. I noticed the back of here where the lens snaps into this housing, This is another weak point also, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a skim of silicone back here right now, because once this thing snaps into that Globrite adapter, it'll be kind of exposed to the water. The grooves right here snap into the adapter grooves, but this area is going to be exposed to water all the time, so I'm just going to fill those in with some silicone also. So one of the things I'm going to do today is, before I replace my other light over there, is I'm going to actually take out that one light that I showed you that was actually acting up. I have to actually get in the pool, try to pull that out and seal it up and try to get it to last a little bit longer than it already has. It's eventually going to fail, but I want to extend the life at least another year or two. So I'm going to take it out and try to seal it up. So for me to get to that light right there on mine is actually on the lower step. So I actually have to get into the pool. I might have to put some goggles on or something to kind of get down there and see what's in there, and put my swimsuit on to do this without my mic. But basically, if you have the turn tool, you just put it in there, turn it basically, what is it, like 1/8 of a turn, and it comes loose and you just pull it out. With the wire loose on the other end, it should just pull right through and right up out of the water. Since I don't have that tool, I have to actually use 2 screwdrivers to do this. So what I'm gonna do over here is I'm gonna disconnect the power. I'm gonna tie a string to it because I gotta pull that thing out over there. On this side, I actually have to pull it back through. So to take it off, most of you, if you have the same light, you'll have this intermatic box right here. Just 2 screws on top takes it out. To take that off, you'll take the seal and everything off so you don't lose it all. So inside here, you'll have all your circuits. Right now, my 2 other ones that don't work, I just unplug the circuits and they're just off right here. The one that does work is right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna undo it, leave the caps on the power. So on my pool, we got the black and the red coming in. So right now, my light right there is this middle one. So in order to take that out, you actually have to take these 2 screws. But before I do so, I'm gonna tie my length of wire, my pull string through. You wanna tie a knot, and then what I'm using is electrical tape right here. What I want to do is fold the wires back and then use the electrical tape to tape it down so it doesn't slip through. Once you do that, just tug on it, make sure you get a good grip, and then I'm gonna go ahead and undo this. Take the strain relief off of here, and then you'll notice some plumber's putty in here. Just pull this all out. We're gonna need it right now. I'll go ahead and get the tool to take it all out because I need to reuse it. So for the back side of that string, I just tied this little shovel right here to it. That way it doesn't pull all the way through when I go in. So I want to make sure you have something tied to it if you don't have a long enough string. All right, so you guys saw me get that thing out of there using a snorkel. It's probably the best way just because I keep my head underwater, but we were able to get that grout out, turn it that 1/4 turn or that 1/8 of a turn that we needed to, and pull it out. So we'll go up and take a look at it now. So you can see what we pulled out of here. Pretty much that seal looks like it was fine. I did flush out that tube with some water, and you can see all that gunk that came out of that conduit that's been sitting in there for like 3 or 4 years. But then you look on the inside, you can see all that water build up in there, which is the sign of a leak, and that's gonna cause all that corrosion and failure to those LEDs. And this is the most common problem with these Globrites from Pentair. So that's why everybody's going MicroBrite now. Hopefully the MicroBrites last a little bit longer. I can kind of see it. So it looks like there is a hairline crack right here. Look at that. So that's probably where the intrusion's happening, which is, oh yeah, I can see the water bubbling out right there. So that's the culprit right there. Freaking cheap ass Pentair quality right there. So I've got this thing sitting out. It's been sitting for a couple days. You can still see some condensation in there. I'm trying to let it dry out. Once it dries out a little bit more, I'm gonna probably try to vacuum this crack to get any kind of moisture out of it, and then just seal it up with some silicone to kind of have it last at least another year or so, or maybe even longer. Hopefully the crack doesn't get any bigger. All right, we'll go ahead and seal this thing up now after we've let it dry for a couple days. Yeah, you see that coating right there. Just liberally put it on there, let it all cover up, especially around that crack area, just to make sure we seal it up nicely and keep the water out. Right here, make sure you tie this thing down. I have my pull string right here from Southwire, just a 500-foot piece of it. And we'll just go ahead and pull the other end all the way through. So the one on this side, this was the first one to fail on me, and you can see the inside was just full of crap and it just corrosion and everything inside. But if you look at the crack on this one, it's not even that bad. The crack on the other one looked even worse than this one, but this one let in much more water. You can see the date code on these is 2018. So this pool was a 2019 build. So most likely they got this when it was 6 to 8 months old. And that's why the date code and the serial number show August of 2018. But anyway, this is probably maybe 3 years of use before this thing died. So I've got my Southwire pool onto here. It's into there, so we'll just go ahead and pull it through. Before we do that, it might be advisable to just fill this with water to push out any mold and gunk and buildup inside the conduit from the last 4 years of use. Didn't look like much shot out of there as far as dirt and grime. On that other side, it was much worse when I shot that out earlier. All right, so we got everything set up. So just go ahead, pull this through. Might have to go down in there and get some help. Let me go check the other side. Looks like on the other side I got caught up in the thing, so I fixed it. All the way through. Perfect. So we want to just leave this here, bring out the new one, do the same tie with the electrical tape, and then pull it through the other way. So I've let this thing dry for a couple days, all that silicone, so it's nice and cured before I put it in the pool. I went ahead and pulled this whole ring off right here. You actually have to pull the whole 100 feet out and then snake that thing through. Now what I'm gonna do is snake the new adapter through from the end here and get it all the way to the front and snap it in before we go out to the pool and put it in. I've got the adapter all the way through, ready to snap it in. Before I snap it in, I'm gonna go ahead and put some of that grease in there, that silicone plumber's grease that they gave us in that little pack. Put it on that O-ring in there before I snap it in, just to keep it lubed up and not fail in the future. And then when I put it into the pool, I'm gonna put that same silicone grease on this back seal. That way it slides in nicely without damaging or kinking any of this O-rings. Those are important to make sure the seal is also good. So you can slide that O-ring right there onto that edge and just lube it up and then insert it into the adapter. So as far as the adapter goes, just line up the little nubs right here and just push it in and it just snaps right in right there, and everything kind of fits into the grooves and everything. So it's snapped into there. It should be sealed up. You could check on the back side just to make sure the O-ring is seated properly, and then go ahead and lube this O-ring before you bring it out there and put it into the pool. Went ahead and coated that O-ring on the back side so it's all ready to go. Go ahead and put this 100 foot back into the box and bring it outside and we'll string it through. All right, so we'll do the same exact thing. Just take off this old tape. Don't reuse it. You just want to use some new electrical tape. That way it holds. You don't want this thing coming loose halfway down for any reason. There. So now here's where we'll probably need some help from someone to kind of guide this in while we pull the other side. All right, we're back over here, so we'll go ahead and pull this thing while we have help on the other side just to guide it. Sometimes you'll feel some force, just kind of slowly work it. It might be getting stuck in some of the conduit or the turns. You don't want to, just want to take it slow. Try to get it through those turns. All right, let me check the other end. All right, fixed it. Wife dropped it into the pool instead of up. Pulled it through, and let's try this again. Up, all the way through. All right, got it. So we just go ahead and pull it all the way through. This is 100 feet right here. So now that we got it pretty much pulled through almost all the way, we'll go ahead and drop that in there, get in the pool, insert it in, and lock it tight using the tool that comes with both this adapter and the light, and that way we can lock it in. Once we lock it in, we want to vacuum the line to get all the water that's inside the conduit out so it doesn't sit there and corrode the backside of this. All right, so now we're gonna be able to vacuum the line. We've got everything. What you wanna do with the slack is kind of push some back into the conduit just as much as you can so you have some slack in there. Cut enough here where you're gonna leave a little bit extra to work with in case you need it, and kind of just roll it up in here. So I'm gonna leave maybe like a foot, cut it right there. And that should be more than enough for me to work with there. What I wanna do to vacuum it is I'm gonna get my wet dry vac right here. It's all ready to go. Plugged up. What I want to do is put this slack right here into the line, so that way you could get a nice seal right here into the conduit. Just get your thing in there and just turn on your vacuum. To finish it up, we'll go ahead and push as much of the wire in as I said back into the conduit that you can spare. Get the strain relief, install the strain relief right down into there to hold it, and then we want to tighten this thing down so that it doesn't pull through this thing down, and then we want to put the putty in. So to strip this thing on the ends, just go ahead and just take the back side of this, kind of circle it around. You don't want to go all the way through and pierce any of the wire just to get the jacket off. And then once you do that, just kind of pull it back. Newer wire is a little bit different. The older wire had some kind of like mesh insulation in it. This thing is just straight rubber and the cord. So what you want to do is just go ahead and pull it out, go ahead and strip back maybe like a 1/2 inch worth, maybe a little bit more, like 3/4 inch, enough to go ahead and just spin it into the current wire nuts right here, which is the red and the black. So we'll go black to black, red to white on here. So make sure you don't have any power going through this thing. So I see what the difference is in wiring. So the old ones we took out, the Globrites, had a 16 gauge wire. The new MicroBrites only have a 18 gauge wire. That explains the difference in insulation as well as wire thickness. Got everything wired up and tested it, and it looks like everything's working properly. I've got it on the American setting, which goes from red, white, and blue, and you can see we're on white right now, transitioning to blue, and it's gonna transition to red in a second, but overall, looks like it's working. Hopefully this lasts. Hey guys, thanks for joining me all the way to the end of this DIY video on upgrading those Globrites to the MicroBrites along with that adapter, and kind of doing this yourself versus hiring a pool contractor to do this. As you can see, it's a pretty simple and straightforward process to replace these, even though these lights are expensive as hell. And nearly everybody that's ever gotten these Globrites, these are gonna eventually fail on you between 3 to 5 years. As you can see, these things are very faulty, and there should be a class action lawsuit about this, but we'll see how that plays out in the next couple of years. I'm gonna keep my used ones just in case there is some kind of warranty replacement or something that Pentair ends up doing. If you guys found this video useful for your own project, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel to stay on top of all my different DIY videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I upload a video. Whether I'm working on the house, on the car, or in the garage, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.